Hey, Patty, guess what? We have a sponsor.
A sponsor for the first episode? Are you kidding? Are we that popular already?
This episode is sponsored by Hungry Root, the easiest way to stay healthy. Everything from Hungry Root follows a simple standard. It's got to taste good, be quick to make, and contain whole, trusted ingredients. Stay tuned for a code to get your first box 40% off and free vegetables for life. Hey there, my name is Michaela, and I'm a 28-year-old mom of 2 girls under 4.
And my name is Patty, a 34-year-old mom of 2 boys also under 4.
And we are the hosts of What's Up, Mom, a podcast about kids, friendship, and navigating the always changing world of modern motherhood.
So grab that cold brew or margarita, we don't judge, and crank up those noise-canceling headphones because this week's episode starts now. She texted me today at like noon and she's like, I have every piece of food that I have put in front of Lorenzo today has been eaten in its entirety. And I am concerned that he is about to just grow another foot. I'm like, I can't take it. I don't want to buy any more clothes for him. But here we are. It's okay. It all came out right on the sheets. Everything's fine. That was the first thing Chris said when I went to go get water. And I'm like, oh, did you change him? And he's like, of course I changed him. I'm like, okay. Just checking. I feel like that's a valid question.
How do you guys handle puke? Like, who's better?
I would say, I think I'm better at all things bodily functions.
Yeah.
I just don't like to be surprised. So if you're going to puke, totally fine. If I hear it from across the room, I'm like, here we go. And I will like zoom in like a volleyball player with a bowl.
Catch it with your hands.
And catch it with my hands. And I got no problem with it. But if it's a surprise and I'm like, oh, and it just happens, I'm like, all of my sensors just overload. And I'm like, my nose, my mouth, my eyes, it's all goopy. Not a good time. You didn't want to talk about this, and here we are. We're talking about goop.
No, Cece had a very, very high fever over the weekend. And she was like, you know how like before you throw up, you have like saliva in your mouth? Like,
yes.
You know it's coming.
Yep.
And you could see her like, I'm like, Derek, bowl. And he runs over with the bowl and like clockwork right into the bowl. She only threw up once. But I was so happy because it was like I was in my pajamas. She was in her pajamas after a bath. Like it was just time for bed. I did not want to have to clean that up and start over again.
You caught it in the bowl. Like that is a motherhood win.
I love Derek. He is the light of my life, but there is no sense of urgency in that man.
Oh,
at all.
The bowl?
I'm like, Derek, she's about to throw up. He stands up, turns toward the kitchen, like bowl, like trying to get a little pep in his step.
Start blowing at him, like move faster. Like
I'm like, hurry, bowl. And he'll still just kind of just waltz over.
Oh my god. That's so funny because I cannot see him moving fast at all.
No, he won't.
That's funny. No, that's a mom win. If you get it in the bowl, man, top notch, 10 out of 10. You did a good job that day. Pat on the back.
And then you're going to love this part.
Oh, no.
I'm like, okay, could you rinse this? And hand me another one while you go rinse it, just in case. And then he walks into the kitchen. And I hear him put the water on. And I'm like, for the love of God, please don't dump that in the sink. And he dumped it right into the sink.
Well.
The
puke goes in the toilet.
You should have seen the look on my face. And he acted like he had no idea that was a thing.
Oh, it goes in the toilet. It goes in the toilet.
I'm like, Derek, that's a biohazard. That does not go in our kitchen sink. That's like putting poop in the sink. Yeah, that sink got a really good scrub down.
Well, you know what? He won't do it again, hopefully.
I said, I told him, I'm like, just don't, it's okay. Just
It's
please
okay.
don't do that
It's
again.
okay, honey. You didn't
I'm
need
not
it.
mad.
I'm not
I'm
mad.
actually really, I'm not mad at you. I'm pissed, but it's not at you.
Not at
Just
you.
please don't do it again.
It's all about education, and we were educated today. So please put the puke in the toilet. Thank you so much. And let's move on. No, but
Like we should with this podcast.
I applaud you. I'm telling you, like, kids being sick, not fun. And
Not for the week.
not for the week, if I knew how often my children would be sick after the initial first 6 months of their life, even the first 6 months of their life for poor Raphael, but I just feel like I should have had a red flag of some sort. And I think my feelings of maybe becoming or about becoming a mom would maybe have changed, but maybe not. I think I would have still had them. But speaking of which, this is a good segue. I love a good segue. Not the little motorized scooters, you guys. A segue into conversation.
Like in Mall Cop.
Yes, just the rent-a-cops on their little scoots. How long did it? Well, actually, I don't think it took you very long to get pregnant because you weren't really looking for that line of life.
I was told it would never happen. So you should have seen the surprise on my face when that test was positive.
Oh,
I was like, oh.
ho ho.
But like if you took all the times and you put them on a timeline, I'd say like a year and a half of actively not giving a shit.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're told it's not going to ever happen, you're not going to use contraception.
Oh, why would you do that?
That's stupid.
A waste of money, time, energy, mental capacity.
I mean, have you seen the price of condoms lately? It's like $45 for 20 condoms.
That's outrageous. It's like $2 a condom. Wait, my math is off.
If you have sex every day, you're buying like, what, 15 packs a year of like the big packs?
I mean,
that's a lot of money.
You're having sex that often. My God, what are you? A rabbit? My Lord.
Better than me.
Took us, like, when we actively wanted to start having kids, it took us about a year. And the month before it happened, I was so frustrated because I'm so type A. I was tracking everything. I was peeing on sticks. I was doing the whole shebang. And it was not happening. And I realized I made a fatal error because they don't teach you how to get pregnant. They're just like, have sex, it'll happen. And I'm like, no, that's a lie. There's actually quite a bit of science to it. And you can really only get pregnant like 2 days out of the month.
2 days out of the month, yeah.
The nuns and the priests and the pastors in my high school lied. They all lied. They need to go to confession because they were like, if you look at someone a certain way, you're getting knocked up. And it was just ridiculous. Are you good? Are you breathing?
I didn't want to laugh.
Oh no, why? It's funny.
I would have been a really loud laugh. I'm just trying to contain it a little bit.
How dare you? She's suppressing her laughter, y'all. So it took us a full year, and the last month it finally clicked to me that I wasn't supposed to be like, trying 2 days before and just like hoping. I need to do it the day of ovulation, the day after, the day before, everything. And it ended up working out. And if anyone remembers the date, March 13th, 2020, please know that that day was super special to you because you started working from home and the world shut down. But I was peeing on a stick going, oh, fuck, I'm in the middle of a pandemic and also pregnant. Cool.
No
it was
way. March 13th.
What a day it was.
That was the day.
That was the day. Yep.
That's the day everyone's life changed, and yours just changed in a different way.
Changed in 2 completely different paths.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so I got the line, and I remember like being like, oh no. I mean, yes, but oh. I didn't want to tell Chris because I had earlier in the year got a chemical pregnancy, which I didn't even know existed. And it's when you get a little line and then like the next day the line disappears and then it continues to disappear and then it never comes back. So I hadn't told him that either, but I just kind of wanted to keep it to myself for like a good week. My entire workplace was going through a huge restructure too. Like the hospitality industry was just like decimated. So I'm like, I'm gonna keep this one to myself for a minute, and just kind of see what happens. So I ended up telling him, and yeah, the it was a wonderful time. I look back and I am like, God, what a time to be pregnant. No one knew. No one could give me advice. I was inside my house. I was eating Velveeta daily, okay? And no one could judge me. I had like no work to do because my job was just like totally different at that point. And I think I played Animal Crossing for the first 4 months of my life religiously. Like, I think I beat that game within 2 weeks. And it was just
The first 4 months of your life or the first 4 months of your pregnancy?
first 4 months of my pregnancy, but also my life during COVID, which was still great. So, I will say that the smell of Lysol still gives me PTSD. So,
It's really a lot of people's stories, like life stories now, start with, when COVID started or during COVID.
yep, or
And it's
pre-COVID.
wild how much of that, and it was really only two and a half, 3 years, but it's wild how much of a difference that made in everyone's lives.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's huge. So you got your pregnancy line. You weren't really trying. How did you tell Derek? Because like you just didn't you like not even live together for like a week?
So Derek and I moved in with my parents at my parents' house. And then the week of COVID, we moved into our new home and I started a new job. So like that's what was going on in my life. Like March 13th, started a new job, was living in a new home. Man, I think we got the positive test in August. Does that sound right?
Yes.
If I had a child in April of the next year.
Yep.
Okay.
That sounds accurate.
I'm not one to like, oh, I'm going to go to the store and get him a little dad t-shirt or, I'm waiting for you, daddy onesie. I called him while he was at work
You broke it to him.
because I was like, what in the, do I make an appointment? Is this real? There's no way this is real. And then it was like a blue line test. So he's like, go to the store, get like a first response, take another one, and then we'll talk about it when we get home. He's such a level-headed guy. I'm like, okay, I'm pregnant. He's like, let's not worry.
Let's not jump
Let's
to
not worry until we
conclusions.
need to worry.
No one gave Derek the memo of if it's a line, it's a line conversation. If you see a line,
I even
it's a line.
sent him a picture. And he's like, it's I see it, but like it's not, it could be like not right. Right? And I said, no, that's not how it works. But I will go get 7 more tests just to prove
Derek's
it to you.
in full denial. He's like, let's not treat this like a big thing. Like April comes, Charlotte pops out. He's like, turns out you were pregnant.
So, and that leads me into like talking to my parents and his parents, because when we first met, we had a chemical pregnancy like 4 months into our relationship. And I told my mom and he told his parents, and then it wasn't real. So like we already had the conversation once. So it was funny. We went to sit down at his parents' house to tell his parents. And, if you're going over somewhere with your girlfriend and you're sitting down, like, you know exactly what's happening. And his dad goes, "You're pregnant, aren't you?" Like, didn't even have to say anything. We just literally got there. We just sat down. And they're like, yeah, we are. I think I don't even remember telling my parents either because...
Oh my God, you probably blacked out.
I think I did because again, trauma, don't remember that happening. Parents are always very supportive though. It takes your parents, and I think it's because we weren't married. We're still not married. We're engaged. But at this point, I mean, he's not going to get rid of me. So
Yet.
It was like we just moved into a new house. you're still boyfriend and girlfriend. So, of course, your parents are going to be a little like worried. But as soon as
Iffy.
my mom realized that means she was going to become a grandma, that was it. It's all she needed. She picked out her grandma
Seriously.
name. Mimi.
Yep. That's my
Mimi and
mom's
Grandpa.
grandma name.
Is it?
Grandpa. Still die. Grandpa. Where the fuck do you come up with this shit? But also, like, it's very unique. And my dad did the exact same thing where he was like, I'd like to be called Pepito. I'm like, I have never heard of this grandpa name ever.
Is that
I'm
a
like, and he's just
potato?
like, that's what I want. And I'm like, do you know how hard this is for your speech delayed grandson to try and say? Like, this is extremely, it's hard for me to say. So Raphael just calls him Pito.
Pito.
He goes, Pito, Pito. Like, this is
Isn't a
amazing.
pepito a potato, or am I just really
I mean, in
uninformed?
some language, it absolutely is. But I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna have to find this later and just say, you know, that you're having your grandchildren call you a potato.
Or French fry?
I remember I love like the whole like telling people that you're pregnant thing, because for people that are going like I wouldn't say that you're not doing the traditional route, but like, you know, boy meets girl, boy likes girl, boy gets engaged to girl, you get married, then you have a baby, right? So there's this slight bit of anticipation once you get married that eventually in the next 2 to 3 years, you will have a baby, right? And for me, I used to get so triggered by my parents and my grandma and my just everybody being like, you know, you guys thinking about having kids? I freaking hate
Or
it.
you don't have a glass of wine and they're like, oh my God, she's pregnant.
Are you pregnant?
I
And
feel
I'm
bad
like,
for my
what?
sister. She went through the same thing. They've been married almost 10 years and they just had their first baby.
I'm like, in what world do you think I'm going to say yes to that question? Like, I'm going to drop a bomb in the middle of dinner. Actually, yes, Carol, I am pregnant. Thanks for noticing my lack of alcohol. Am I that big of an alcoholic that you noticed for 1 second I wasn't enjoying my rosé? How dare you? Like, you know what? Bring me a donut, bitch. Move over. Seriously though, well, after that whole debacle, getting pregnant during COVID was amazing because no one asked me anything. How could you think? How could you possibly think about having a baby in the middle of a pandemic? Psych, gotcha, bitch. Perfect time. And I did not see my friends. I didn't tell the world until I was 20 weeks because I didn't want my job to know. The pressure of keeping it under wraps, it was just like your little secret, you know? And none of my friends knew. No one saw me, so I didn't have to hide anything from anyone except for the neighbors. And even then, they didn't really see me much. So when I told my parents, I did it on camera. I have the recording. I told my sisters, I told my brother-in-law, all on the same Zoom call. We were all doing a Zoom COVID game, and I recorded the Zoom, and I still have it. And the screenshot of my mother and father's face when I told them that I was pregnant is fucking priceless. I will keep it forever. My mom's mouth went so oval. It was just like, oh, cannot believe it. And then afterwards, you tell your friends, you tell your cousins, you tell your aunts, your uncles.
When did you
and
tell social media? Because social media is a person now that you have to tell everything to, right? So, like, when did you tell social media?
So when I was 4 months, because I could not tell social media without telling my work. So I had to tell my work first before I announced it to the world.
Oh, okay.
So I did that in July. July 2nd or 3rd is my anniversary at work. So I sung Michael Bublé's Still Haven't Met You Yet and kind of danced around my living room and was very visually pregnant and put that on my Facebook page for my work, and everyone was like, oh my God.
Oh, that's cute.
So
I'm like, why are you dancing? And then I remember what the words say.
Yes. And I still haven't.
I was like, this isn't interesting.
Yeah. And that was super cute. And then, you know, here goes the eating and
wasn't your
drinking.
Pregnancy announcement on Facebook like adding a player one?
Yes, something like that.
I did the same thing with Charlotte.
Loading player 3. But then we also did like a American, because it was July 4th, so we were like, our little star is coming to our Star Spangled Banner. I don't know, something like that. Chris made me do it. Actually, he didn't make me do anything. I'm lying to you. He didn't even know what happened, probably. So to this day, if you asked him, gun to his head, if he knew what either of our children's announcements were, he wouldn't be able to tell you.
I had to tell work because I took x-rays at work. So I had to tell them as soon as I found out.
So they knew.
It's like 6 weeks. Yeah, they knew. At least the doctor did. But then like everyone started to find out when I started vomiting every single morning at 8:30 like clockwork. I would get to work. I would like try to get there a little bit early or like very late, depending on how much I threw up all night, because my morning sickness was all day sickness. I was sick from the moment I woke up to the moment I went to bed for 15 weeks. So it was like a ritual. I would go, I'd get my Dunkin', iced coffee instead of my latte because I was trying to cut back on the caffeine. I'd get to work with my bagel. I wouldn't eat it because that would be my after vomit bagel. I'd bring my toothbrush because I had to be there on time. Like I had to be there at the same time every day. I'd bring my toothbrush and my toothpaste. I would go vomit for 20 minutes, brush my teeth. I would clean the toilet. Everyone in the office like pretended like it didn't exist because it happened every day. It was just like a routine.
Oh my
and then
God.
eat my vomit bagel and drink my coffee and go to work. And then happen again at lunch. It was bad.
Your first 4 months of pregnancy life was pretty similar to mine, except I basically had no job. And I was just like, oh, 6 a.m, puke, saltine cracker, toothbrush, toothpaste, go downstairs, maybe work a little bit, Animal Crossing, puke again. Just
saltine cracker, that killed me because I think if you had, what do they call it when you're puking your whole pregnancy? There's a diagnosis for
hyperemesis, gravidarium or something like that.
Gravity.
Gravidiosas. It's coming up. It's coming up. There's no gravity. Wingardium Leviosa.
But if you've gone through this, you had saltine crackers on your side table that you would wake up and eat and go back to sleep.
100%.
Because a lot of this is tied to like deficiencies, but also your body's so hungry that by the time you wake up in the morning, your baby's like, holy shit, you're starving me. So you would eat in the middle of the night to like, curb that hunger, but you'd still throw up. It like nothing worked. Did you try the Preggy Pops?
I tried it all.
Everything. The ginger smoothies, nothing worked. Not a thing.
I actually, you know what? I take it back. There was one thing that worked, and it was Sour Patch Kids. Someone told me to do it, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. Why in the world would I take Sour Patch Kids on an already very raw esophagus? And they're like, just fucking do it. And I'm like,
candy.
Fine.
People, it didn't work for me, but it did work for a lot of my friends. I was admitted 3 times to the hospital for fluids because I hadn't peed or anything in like hours, like days. No pee came out of me.
Liquid IV did not exist at this point, but like Powerade, Gatorade, all that stuff. I was chugging that stuff and it would just come back up. Also, great episode. We're just talking about vomit. But I just like just a quick question on your Dunkin' Donuts coffee that you would get in the morning. Would you look at it and be like, you're going to be delicious, but I'll see you later?
Yes.
Oh God, that's what I did with the saltines. I'm like, I'm so hungry and I'm gonna eat you, but I'm gonna see you in an hour.
All right, let's fast forward to second trimester. The morning sickness is gone. You're starting to like really see that baby bump if it's your first pregnancy. Your skin starting to glow. What is your food of choice? What were you eating?
Everything. I don't know. I mean,
you didn't have like a go-to meal?
Oh my God. Am I going to tell the melon porn story right now? I'm going to do it. Okay. All I wanted with Lorenzo was melon. Okay. Honeydew, cantaloupe, watermelon, fucking pineapple's like melon adjacent. Okay. So the problem with having a pregnancy craving in your second trimester in the middle of fucking COVID and not being able to go to the grocery store and just like appease that craving. Instacart at this point was doing orders 3 weeks out. So I would wake up in like the dead heat of 3 a.m. in the morning and be like, oh my God, I need a honeydew. And like Chris would look at me and be like, I'm sorry, honey, Instacart isn't coming until next month. And I'm like, but I need it. And he's like, I know, but we can't go get it because we're stuck in the house. And I'm like, my mouth would just like salivate for melon. So I cannot believe I'm saying this right now. I sat on the bed one day. Me and Chris had like opposite schedules at this point. He would play Call of Duty all night long until like 8 a.m. And then we would switch and I would go play Animal Crossing and he would sleep during the day. So he came upstairs at one point during his Call of Duty like extravaganza. And I was sitting in bed watching Melon Ballers on YouTube, like this close to the TV. And I was like, just trying to like get a taste of the honeydew cantaloupe. And I remember Chris just coming upstairs and being like, what are you doing? And I'm like,
watching porn.
Watching melon porn. But it's not actually, like I'm saying right now, I'm not watching like women having sex with melons. I'm telling you that I'm watching people ball melons like in kitchens. And I'm like, this is it. This is what I'm watching for 2 hours.
This is hitting the melon craving spot.
It is getting it done. And you know what? That's what we did. And the moment we were able to go to like a fresh market and get like a fucking watermelon, you're like, I ate that whole thing to my face, man. Lorenzo is 90% melon, like truthfully. And he still likes it to this day. And same with Raphael. They're both 90%. So that's my pregnancy craving. Take it as you want. I watch people melon ball in COVID. So enjoy that story.
I've never heard that story. Thank you for telling me. That was very vulnerable of you.
I'm hoping that you've been enlightened. What was your symptom? What was your craving?
No, dude, it's grocery day.
Stop it. Do you have someone that can watch the kids for you? Or are you destined to bring them both with you while you fight for your life in the canned food aisle?
The fighting for my life option, obviously. Wait, didn't you just sign up for Hungry Root so you don't even need to leave your house when you grocery shop?
I did, and it's been a lifesaver. Hungry Root is the easiest way to eat healthy. They send you fresh, high-quality groceries, simple recipes, and essential supplements. It's like your personal assistant for healthy living.
Take a fun, short quiz, and Hungry Root will get to know your personal health goals, what you like to eat, and more. Then, they'll build you a personalized cart with all of your grocery needs for the week and give you delicious recipe recommendations to put those groceries to use.
Each order is fully customizable, so you can take their suggestions or choose anything you want. They've got fresh produce, high-quality meat and seafood, healthy snacks, smoothies, sweets, ready-to-eat meals, food and snacks for the kiddos, vitamins, supplements, and much more. I love my Hungry Root, and I've been using it for a while now, and my picky fiance got his very own healthy mac and cheese meal and a personal pizza. If it's approved by my picky eater partner and my kids, it's good with me. Everything from Hungry Root follows a simple standard. It's got to taste good, be quick to make, and contain whole, trusted ingredients. Hungry Root, the easiest way to eat healthy.
Right now, Hungry Root is offering our listeners 40% off of your first delivery and free veggies for life. Just go to hungryroot.com and use the code WhatsUpMomPod40 to get 40% off of your first delivery and to get your free veggies. Don't forget to use our link so they know that we sent you.
I craved ice cream and
typical
sushi that like wasn't raw sushi. So like sweet potato roll, chicken teriyaki roll. I think I had it every other week because it's expensive. But Derek would bring me home from hold on, I can't remember. If he was late, okay, so he worked a job that didn't give a fuck about you. You would just stay until the job was done, even if it was like 10 hours and you're supposed to work an 8-hour shift. So if he left late, it wasn't his fault, but it was like a thing. If he left late, he would bring me an ice cream home from like our favorite ice cream place. So that happened often, but it was the same thing. It was a vanilla ice cream with the chocolate hard topping, like hardens, and strawberry, like the strawberry syrup with the strawberries and sprinkles. And I would devour that shit in like 32 seconds. It was delicious.
It's very
it was amazing.
specific. This is a very specific.
And now I am salivating thinking about that. It was an ice cream place right down the road. It was like a little mom and pop place. It's probably a little too dirty for my liking, but the ice cream was great. Yeah, I probably 3 or 4 times a week I was eating ice cream.
I would just like to say that you're more on the normal people plane, where you actually...
Yeah, I'm like, that was not as exciting as melon porn.
You can absolutely go out and get ice cream whenever you want, and I could not do that. I will say that at the end of Lorenzo's pregnancy, I was a fire-breathing dragon with heartburn to the point where I would look at a tomato and be like, nope, can't even have it in my vicinity. The entire family would know. Chris's family is like devastatingly Italian, and they're like, wait, you can't eat the pasta. I'm like, no. And they're like, the pizza? No. Like, moigu sauce? No. And like, they're like, would you like no, I can't eat anything. I felt like the My Big Fat Greek Wedding, where they're like, you don't eat no meat. Like, that's what I felt every single time they offered me food. I'm like, I'm just gonna eat the bread and even the garlic.
Didn't you have your baby shower with? Wasn't it at an Italian restaurant, the one that I came to, the Sprinkle?
That was Raphael, and I had figured out the medication to now take that I didn't feel was over the top.
Oh, okay.
But with your first baby, you don't want to take anything. Like, how dare I take Harper medication?
Even think about a Zofran after I've been vomiting for 10 hours.
What? A Tums? No, I'll push through. I'm like, no, we're not doing that anymore. Second baby, bring on the frickin' Tums. I have a Costco size like package that I bought when I found out I was pregnant with Raphael. I'm like, we are prepared this time. And we were. And we really were. I was asking you before you said baby shower. So my baby shower with Lorenzo was themed A Little Cutie Is on the Way, and it was little clementines and oranges, and oh my god,
did everyone get a clementine gift to take home?
No, I didn't think of that. Maybe that would have been
man,
cute.
you really missed the mark.
Really missed an opportunity.
Could have put a smiley face on it.
But that was just adorable in every way, and Raphael's I don't think had a theme. I think it was just a sprinkle, and we ate food.
Shower me with love.
Shower me, please.
Shower the mom to be.
Just a little bit, because it's a sprinkle. It's your second baby.
I can't remember what Charlotte's was, but I'm almost positive it had to do with like the ocean.
Okay.
Because that just became her nursery theme. Like the whole was, but my brain can't compute, can't recollect. But it was during COVID, as yours was, I'm sure.
Yep.
And we had it at a hall. It was like my parents, we've had a lot of events at this hall down the road. And my parents had to beg them. They were like opening back up for small events. We had to get the biggest room and seat everybody 6 feet apart. So we had to have several tables. Everyone had to be wearing masks. And then we had to drive up. So like if you didn't want to come, you could drive up, drop my gifts off, and we would give you food to go.
Dude,
it was very creative. My mom was like, this is my first grandbaby and we are going to have a baby shower. And she made it work, and I give her all the props. I didn't plan anything. I just got there and things were done and it was organized. And
you know what's funny is like my mom, Lorenzo, was her first grandchild as well, and again during COVID, and they were in another country. Canada had some of the strictest entry laws that you could possibly have. And I entered Canada, they started a clock. And it would go, you need to quarantine for 14 days. We know where you live. We know where you're going. We know who you're with. If you stop on the way, well, no, like it was all like very fear-mongering at that point. But they weren't lying, because at some point they would call your phone and make sure that you were
at the place, they would have people come to your house and make sure that you were there. So we ended up doing my baby shower 14 days. I stayed in Canada for 2 weeks. I worked from Canada. And we ended up having a huge baby shower in my parents' backyard. Same thing. Everybody was 6 feet away from each other. Like, you know, my girlfriend ended up coming in with masks. And like, at this point, I was like, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen now. And, you know, this is going to be feelings about becoming a mom also during COVID. Like, but it was such a big part.
Well, and our kids, like the story, but the stories we're gonna be able to tell our kids, like, this is what we did for you.
Yeah, we had
it's gonna be in the kids' history books, like current events. You know, when we were growing up, we were reading. COVID is gonna be in the history books, and we'll be able. Oh yeah, Grand Sonny, like I was alive during COVID.
And not only will it be in the history books, but like, yeah, our kids are gonna, Mom, what happened in the year 2020?
What was it like?
I'll be like, I'll tell you what it's like, Sonny. All right, we used to get groceries delivered, DoorDash, and we used to microwave them because we didn't want bacteria on the paper bag.
Were you? I have to ask. Were you someone who wiped down your groceries
every time?
Lysol if they got delivered?
This is why Lysol gives me PTSD. And like, we were the ones that went.
I'm not laughing at you, but like,
please.
that's looking back at it. That's funny.
Please laugh at me.
That's hilarious.
Because we went to Costco. Like, our last Costco trip was February 28th, and Chris, for some reason, had this like inkling that the world was going to shut down. So we got like the last package, the last 4-pack of Lysol spray from Costco.
Wow.
And ask me if I still have those bottles of Lysol.
I'm sure that you have 3 full bottles.
3 full bottles. 3 of them.
Yep.
The 4th one is maybe halfway done because you just give up.
You'll be ready for the next one.
Don't say that.
Okay, but like, let's talk about hospital during COVID.
Oh my God, what a time.
There was like, okay, so I delivered with IHA, St. Joe's Midwives, for my first baby. And I, like, a week before I had Charlotte, they were saying no visitors. You couldn't have anyone in there with you. It was like during peak COVID time. And then the week I had her, like 3 days before, I had an email saying that you could bring, you know, your partner and one person in the hospital room with you. And I look back and I think about the moms who had to deliver without anybody, and like, that's heartbreaking. Were you one of those people? Did you have to deliver by yourself?
No, I truly have not met one person that wasn't able to bring their partner in. So I don't know if it was like a misquote or a miscommunication. I'm sure there were women that had to deliver without someone, but I myself have not met one person that hasn't at least had their partner in the room with them. We weren't allowed visitors, 100%. Like, they told us that the moment we got there. What a blessing that was for me, though. Like, I was thrilled to just have it be me and Chris, because I mean, even my father-in-law to this day, like, he went to go see my sister-in-law, so Chris's sister, like minutes after she was getting stitched up. And like, that's his daughter, so that's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But like he joked with me all the time where he was like, I'm coming. And I'm like, you better fucking not be coming. And like, I knew at this point that the hospital's not letting visitors in. So I was like, cool, that's handled for me, you know. And he's joking. Like, he wasn't, I mean, he might have, but I think he would have waited, you know. He would have been respectful in that regard. But I was thrilled. I was so happy that we didn't have anybody. And the first person to meet Lorenzo was actually one of my really good friends, Daniela, who's a surgeon at Beaumont Royal Oak. And she was working that day. So she was like, I'm just going to skirt all the security. She doesn't work there anymore, so it's fine. But she ended up like coming through like the mom and baby ward. And she was like, hey. And I'm like, oh my God. I was just so happy to see like one of my friends. And like, we joked that it was the best care we got from a doctor there. I'm really bashing this hospital, but whatever. I did not like this hospital at all.
When we got into the visitor room, my dad was able to come. So my mom helped me deliver, and I don't think I could have done it without her. Holy shit, that was hard. But then she had to leave. And then my dad came, but in order for my dad to come into the room, Derek had to leave the hospital. Like, he had to trade with my dad.
Oh my God.
In order for my dad to come see Charlotte. So Derek went, got lunch, and my dad came and held her. And my dad was the only one that visited in the hospital. But it just felt kind of like lonely, because even you just had the least amount of human beings possible. And I'm the kind of person that like soaks up energy. So having more people around me is a lot better for my mental state.
Mm-hmm.
It just felt like really, lonely and sad. So I was thrilled to get home.
Oh my God, what a different experience. It's so funny. I was thinking about like we're total opposite. Meanwhile,
I know. You're like, get the fuck away from me. Get away from me.
Bring me my sushi platter immediately and leave me to eat it. And that's what I did. And we were stuck in the hospital for 3 days because Lorenzo had jaundice. He was a C-section. I was unwell. And
yeah,
it was just not a good time.
I remember you talking to me about this.
Not a good time. I will say that I did take a video of him with Sandstorm playing in the background, because he was in the little like not incubator, but like, what are those fucking things called? Billy lights. So I was like, and just like zooming in on him, because I'm like, I'm crying, but if I don't laugh, I will continue to cry. So that was the only thing making me happy.
What was your after birth meal?
Sushi.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think mine was fucking Jimmy John's, because that was the only thing open and close at the time. It was awful.
I think we had Lorenzo at like 3 p.m, but like we didn't get to the room until 6 because I had to go into recovery and all that. But I remember Chris walking in with a platter of sushi. I'm gonna be honest with you, I think his mom brought it, but I don't know if she did or not now. I don't know if that was just like a talk we were having. If I was in Twilight Zone though. So like I remember just waking up
Absolutely.
and there just being a party platter of sushi in front of me and me going like, and eating all of it. I think Chris had like 3 bites because he was just so nervous, and like first time dad, like could not eat anything. But I pounded that sushi. It was the greatest meal ever. But Jimmy John's is a close second. I think if there was one that was near us, I would have done that for one of their afterbirths.
I just think, I don't know. I think it was Jimmy John's, or it was like a grocery store that was open at the time, because I had Charlotte at like 3 a.m. So then like whatever was open and close by. But I will say the best shower I have ever taken is that after birth shower. When you're standing there and you're like playing with your belly, you're like
squishy.
It's just flub squishy. You've got all that air in there that still has to get its way out. You get to sit down and let take the hottest, because when your first pregnancy, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't take really hot showers because I was afraid I'd cook my child. So I turned it all the way up after and just let it melt my skin off. And there's something about like having a child exit your body and having your body back. It's very wholesome.
And you just wash the baby off of you. You're like, it's gone now. It's all of the baby that was on me prior to giving birth is now at the bottom of the shower after you take it. And that's how I felt. I don't care. Y'all want to judge me?
Come out in that postpartum diaper and your nursing bra or non-nursing, whatever. You're just like in 2 pieces.
Boobs are hanging out.
Wrap up in a blanket.
Do not care.
The best.
No shame either. I'm pretty sure the janitor wanted to clean our rooms. He's like, is it a good time? I'm like hanging out, both boobs out, like giant water bottle someone gave me and a pad. I'm like, yeah, it's a great time. Come on in. My husband's like, it's not. Cover up your regions, honey. I'm like, he's fine. He's been here. Probably been here the whole time.
That reminded me of a time where I think Derek and I went to like the Henry Greenfield Village or something with Charlotte when I was still kind of nursing, and I was out. It was like 90 degrees. I was not covering my body up when I was nursing. I had my boob out, and he's like, you should just, and he's like trying to cover me. I'm like, get that the fuck away from me. I am fine. This is a breast. It is meant to feed a baby. He was so uncomfortable, you could tell. He like did not want anyone else to see a sliver of my boob, because that is cheating.
Oh my God, I'm dying.
I think the first time I breastfed in public was with Raphael because obviously everyone knows. Well, not everyone, but Lorenzo would not latch. He was not a from the tap kind of guy. He liked it freshly pumped. But Raphael would take
We
it.
talked about that, I think.
Yeah, Raphael would take it from the tap. And so I had to learn an entire new skill with my second baby that I didn't have with the first. And I'm like, wait a minute. How do you do this in public? Do I like just whip it out? Like I don't know how to do this. And thank God I only had 6 months of that torture. I can't believe people breastfeed for longer than 6 months, but I know you're probably still going strong, so
Going on month 15.
fucking A.
Not because I want to, but because there's no fucking end in sight for this child.
Oh my God. God, just bless you. Bless your heart.
Thank you. Achoo.
With Lorenzo, it was a C-section, so again, I was all twilighty. And truthfully, I did not connect with Lorenzo as quickly as I did with Raphael because again, I was on fentanyl. But I do remember looking at the baby and being like through glossed over eyes and like spread out on the cross. And I'm like, it looks like my dad. And I said it really loud. My husband was like, great. Like, that's the first thing that came out of your mouth. And at that point, like I like knocked myself out and I don't remember anything else in that room. I'm pretty sure the doctors were making dinner plans while they were suturing me, so that's fun. But for Raphael, it was a VBAC. I was very determined to have a for those of you who don't know, VBAC stands for vaginal birth after cesarean, and it only really is something that takes place 75% of the time if you want it to after cesarean, and you have to fucking want it. So I went into this being like, I am pushing this kid out, and I remember him like just rocketing out of me, and the girl just being like, oh, and here he is, and I'm like, I did it. And I just look at Chris and I'm like, I did it. And we didn't know the gender of Raphael, and I totally forgot about it. And they're like, it's a boy. I'm like, yeah, but I did it. Like, great.
I think my first words after Charlotte were, it's over. Did your husband say anything stupid in the delivery room?
Ooh, I don't know if that's my story to tell, but yes, 100%.
We can totally, I mean, come on. It's a mom pod.
Yeah, you're right. All right.
I'm sure everyone's husband has said something stupid. Because mine has.
He actually admits this in public, so like I feel like this is an okay story to tell. But while they were stitching me up, because I had a like not even a 1-degree tear, like a very tiny tear. And they were stitching me up. Yep. You already know what's happening, don't you? And I was like, man, like,
Chris,
this hurts. And he was just like, he's holding my fresh crotch goblin, like, in his hands. And he's just the cutest little schnookle baby. And Chris is like through tears. Like, it's just like a loving moment. And the doctor's stitching me up. And I'm like, is this done? Like, I feel like I had the baby faster than like the stitching, you know? And Chris is like, oh, they go, don't worry, honey. Like, we're almost done. One more stitch. And Chris goes, don't worry, honey. That one's for me. And every single person, the pin could have dropped and it would have been heard on the whole floor. And when I tell you, like, I don't get embarrassed very easily, but I was embarrassed then. And the doctor went, and I was like, death stare to Chris. And the nurse later, I think, said something. I don't know if it was like a checkup or something later, but I guess she said, you know, you're lucky I wasn't in the room with you when you said that, because I will normally snap back as the nurse or the ward, the what are they called? I can't remember the name of them. Whatever, the nurse that's in the room with you.
Resident?
Yeah, that's the one.
Resident nurse.
So she's like, you know, you're lucky I wasn't in the room with you, because I normally snap back at dads who say that and say, well, how tight do you need it? And most dads are like, ooh. So, and Chris said, like, when she said that to him, he blushed, and he doesn't get very embarrassed either. So, I would like everyone to know that no one has to drag him. Like, I promise you that I've
heard this before from many other moms' husbands. Like it's a running joke. It's a funny joke.
It's a joke. Haha, it's over, and he gets to tell that story over and over again and relive that comment for the remainder of our lives. So don't worry. I'm kind of happy you asked, but also did Derek say anything? I feel like
he's gonna be okay.
I feel like Derek would never say anything out of line like that.
So he, besides being hungry after I just had a baby and I was in labor for 24 hours, I remember it was like post-epidural. I had been in labor for 12 hours or something, and he was on this bedside and he was holding my hand. I was like kind of almost pushing. And he goes, "It's all right. Just take a deep breath." Like,
that's what I've been doing for 12 hours, you fucking asshole.
I don't remember how I responded. I don't think it was very kind. But I remember looking at him, and you give like your husband that look, like the "are you fucking kidding me" look. That was given to him. I don't know if I had said anything else, but my midwife, when I had Cecilia at home, she told me after I had her that when you start snapping at your husband, like you're ready to push. That's your body's like cannot take anything else. So you get mad when you get mad at them, like you are about to have your baby.
All right.
And this is a funny story. So when I had Cece, she was born at home, and we were getting the birth tub filled up, but it hadn't even filled up before I was going to push. But as I was like pre-labor, I was laboring, I was like sitting on the couch like, I'm like, "Okay, Derek, like you have to like," so when you have a birth pool, you might take a shit while you're in labor. You might take a shit in the pool.
Right.
You have to have a fishnet to fish it out.
Of course, you wouldn't want that
Long
mixing
story
with your
short,
baby.
I'm like, Derek, thank you, because yes, logistically, like that is.
I mean, you could shoot.
I'm like, Derek,
grab the baby and grab a poo.
I was telling him to like get the towels, get the blankets, take the fishnet, like remove. He's like, "Why do we need this fishnet?" And I was like, "Just take it out of the package." And no more than 10 seconds later, I'm like, "Okay, it's time to push." And we had to like walk to the bedroom and have the baby on the bed.
Take it out of the package.
Why the fuck is there a fishnet?
That's what you catch the baby in.
Because I know, like in that moment, I'm like, I have told you why the fuck we need a fishnet more than once, and you choose now to ask me again. No,
you should have just said it's to catch the
when
baby.
I can't even speak.
That's what. We're actually just gonna play Go Fish, and that's what the net's for. Why didn't you think of that? Oh my god.
I have a picture of myself on the couch too, and like my belly is fucking huge. I'm like just leaned back. I have my LaCroix in one hand, and I'm just like just sitting there waiting for the labor to progress.
Dude, you should send that to LaCroix. You're gonna get like a lifetime supply.
I do want to mention, because I'm very proud of it, the only time I made a peep with both babies was like Ring of Fire actually like pushing the baby out. Like I did not make any noises with both kids. I wasn't like, like how some people are in labor and they're screaming.
First of all,
I was the opposite.
I feel very attacked. Like some
I
people.
just want to say that because I feel like when you look at me and you know how emotionally dysregulated I am, you would think of me as to the person to be screaming that, every contraction, like yelling, screaming. I was not. I did not.
Well, good for you.
Thank you for the applause.
I
Thank you.
sounded like a beluga, so. I will say that after like having the experience to have a baby come out, what I'm going to say is, the natural way, whatever you want to call it.
Um,
Out of your vagina.
Yes, out of the wahoo, or so I called it. I remember like hitting that that portion of labor when it must have been Ring of Fire, right? Like that's when you are hit 10 centimeters and you're like, all right, we're going. I remember waking up out of like a dead sleep. I took the epidural, okay, as soon as I physically couldn't handle it anymore.
As soon as the anesthesiologist was ready, you're like, stick me, baby.
I'm like, I got to 4 with Raphael. I got to like 1.5 with Lorenzo. So like I made it further with Raphael, but at the same, I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, there's no point. So I remember like waking up out of a dead sleep with Raphael and just being like, oh, I remember my words exactly because Chris like kind of scoff laughed at me because it was funny and it was just dead silent in the room. And all you hear is just me go, oh my God, my asshole is about to fall out of my butt. And Chris goes, what?
This was after? This was
right
before you were pushing.
Right before I was pushing. And like the nurse is like, oh, we need to check her. And like a couple people start coming. I'm like, what does it mean? And like instantly went into devil mode. And Chris is like, I'm like, you can never, ever say it hurts to take a shit again. Like to my husband in front of all of these people. And Chris is like,
okay. All right.
And he goes, well, like, sometimes it hurts after you've had some chicken wings. And like, the nurse goes, oh, but this is pushing out bone. And he's like, you haven't seen me at Buffalo Wild Wings. And the nurse was just like laughing, like, but also trying to be serious. And I'm like, stop doing the comedy show. And as soon as like my legs were up and ready to push, I remember Chris just being beside me and being like, you saying the same shit, like, just breathe, honey. I'm like, I'm fucking breathing.
Just relax. Just take a deep breath.
God, I hate that. Yeah, just relax. You're beautiful. No, I am fucking not. Okay, let's not lie.
Did he call you beautiful? What a good husband.
I don't remember everything he said, but I do remember like at one point, like he was lovely during that time, but like we're also best friends. So like, a couple months down the line, he was like, I saw your eyes roll into the back of your head and something possessed you and you pushed that baby out. And I just remember being like, I remember that moment. Thanks, honey. Thank you for that. But yeah, motherhood, beautiful, angelic, wonderful time. The birth experience is just beautiful in every way. There's no poop.
The best part about getting pregnant and having a baby is after you've had your child, 9 months later, you're like, that was easy.
Easy. Nothing.
What's another one?
Just put it in me. It's fine. Like
where nausea, morning sickness.
Don't remember it.
It wasn't really that bad.
Greatest diet ever. Like, just lost some. I didn't have to do anything, and my body just automatically rejects food. Like, it's amazing. Eat whatever you want. It's coming out tomorrow. Oh goodness.
But thank you for listening to our pregnancy and birth.
Yeah, this episode took an absolute turn. Truthfully, like we were thinking that we were gonna name this like feelings on becoming a mom. Nope. That's not it.
Our stories of motherhood.
First time motherhood, birthing experiences.
Trauma.
Experiences, Michaela. That's the socially acceptable word.
Don't want to scare the viewers away.
It's really
the viewers.
Listen,
the listeners.
The wilder your story is, the more laughs you'll have later. Because now I'm not saying, too wild. Don't go, don't go dropping your baby in the middle of the highway. That's too much for me. I think my eyes bulge out of my head. But when I say dropping your baby on the side of the highway, I mean having it, like birthing it out.
Sometimes your Canadian lingo just does not.
Yes, please don't cancel us. I'm not
Translate
talking about
very well to English.
Not talking about actually physically dropping your baby. Don't do that. That's not good. But having a baby, people have had babies on the side of highways for sure. That's a crazy story. I'd like to hear from those people. Please follow, like, subscribe. I would love to hear your stories about having your babies in the car or car adjacent. Sure, there's people that have them in planes too. I don't know. That's all without an epidural, and God bless you people. God bless Michaela.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for listening to our birth experiences / trauma / stories. Hit the subscribe, follow, like button, leave us a comment, tell us where you gave birth on any of our socials. We love hearing from you guys. And let's see what we have to do next week. I don't know. Michaela and I don't know. We've decided to stop telling you what happens next week because we just all best plans go sideways, apparently. So we all hope that you had a good laugh, learned something, pop in next week to this debauchery, and can't wait to hear from all of you.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
See ya.